We are back, baby. We are back. The program's not back yet, but we are officially back, everyone. Welcome back to Seminoles Sideline 365.
Well, we never went away. What do you mean? We're officially back. It's not like
we're back. I didn't say the program was back. I said we're back.
Oh, we're back.
Not back though. Okay. Thank you again for joining us for another round. Like we talked about last week, we'll be doing these hopefully weekly now since we're getting closer to the season, and we're excited to be doing this again. If you haven't followed us on Twitter, go ahead and follow us. And be sure to follow us. We're pretty active on there. At least one of us is. So you can follow us at Seminoles Sideline or Seminoles SL365. I'll go ahead and post that in the chat so that you guys can go ahead and follow us there for the latest news and commentary, mostly commentary from us there. So be sure to follow us there. And then also, as of last week, we are now live on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pandora, all the major networks that you probably use every day on your commute to work or even at work. So you can listen to the audio of these episodes 24 hours, usually 24 hours afterwards. So go ahead and subscribe to us. Just search for Seminoles Sideline 365 in the nav bar. You'll see our logo there, and you can subscribe and then get alerts every time a new episode is published. You can listen to it at any point in time. Pretty simple. So we're excited about that. And what's going on your end? Any news?
No, I was just going to say too, that if you can't catch us visually on YouTube, you're driving around in your car, all you have to do is put that to your media on your radio, and it comes up like a podcast too. So either way, we're trying to give you as many avenues to catch the show as you possibly can. No, just been real busy. Have had family in and out. Shout out to the last group of visitors, and that was Jody and three of my granddaughters. And we went down to Busch Gardens and got rained out. Now, no, wait a minute. We go to Busch Gardens.
Here we go.
And at 4:30, it's supposed to stay open until 9. Well, here come the rains. 4:30, they shut the park, clear the platform, I think you and I were doing that one time, weren't we? Remember?
How does Florida theme park not handle itself in the rain?
The main thing was, so at 4:30, they shut everything down. So a lot of people left. And so we made a decision, it was disappointing. I was disappointed. It's like a loss, lost to Jacksonville State or something. I wasn't happy. And
was there a lot of crying?
No, there wasn't. There was a lot of consoling me. But we kind of wandered around. We went into a show, and the show had these guys from America's Greatest. What is that show on TV now? America's Got Talent. AGT. They were all AGT finalists.
Yeah.
And they brought them out for like 5-6 minute gigs. And that was pretty good. Actually, they had these guys who were dunking basketballs, hitting trampolines. And that was pretty good. That was pretty fun. So we killed about an hour in there. And then we kind of just wandered around, looked at some of the animals and stuff. And then at 8 o'clock, it's still kind of thundering and stuff, and they spring open the rides. So we all ran around.
We even sat around for 4 hours?
Yeah, 4 hours. Yeah, 4 hours. And hey, decisions had to be made, And we made a joint team decision. And then so people were running around, getting the rides on because nobody was there. And then, at the end on the way out, I said, maybe I'll stop by customer service. Talk to them a little bit. Of course. Talk to them. And they were super nice because nobody else was there. And I said, what do you think? And they gave me 4 free guest passes, good for a year. So shout out to Busch Gardens, Tampa, baby.
Okay. That's great.
That's good customer service, right?
Yeah.
Right.
You like the
customer service. They didn't put out some major announcement that said, hey, by the way, go by customer service, pick up your free guest coupons. No, you got to ask, right? You got to ask.
All right, that's your story.
That's what's kind of going on. So it was good. We had a good time.
Never hurts to ask. That's a lesson to the day for the day. Never hurts to ask.
Never hurts to ask. Right.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we gotta
be kind of like Florida State asking the SEC or the Big Ten. Hey, how about it? Never hurts to ask.
It doesn't. So yeah, we got a pretty big show for you guys today. So we're going to be covering a little bit of the ACC Media Days. Bruce was our non-live correspondent for that throughout the day today as I was working. So I appreciate you following along there. So we'll go through that. And then we're going to do a schedule preview for the first 4 games of the season. It's going to be a 4-part series. We're going to break down the first 4 games, give our take on what to expect and who we think to win those games. Yeah, as it proceeds right now, because obviously things can change. People can get hurt, suspended, whatever it is. But we're going to analyze these games over the next couple of weeks here, the first 4 of each, or the 4 each time, and we'll give it a 4-part series there. But let's go right into it. ACC Media Days. What was the big topic or trend of the conversation today? I know Mike Norvell spoke. Florida State sent Mike Norvell, Jordan Travis, Jamie Robinson, and Fabian Lovett there. The trend has been, if you don't know already, Florida State's been basically every single year they've just sent transfers, which is kind of the unique thing about Florida State. All the players they sent to these media days are transfer athletes, which I think is interesting. That's kind of how Florida, Mike Norvell's built this program so far is on transfer leadership versus kind of high school recruiting. But what did you hear today? What did Mike have to say? What did you find interesting?
Yeah, I was able to monitor it live from the comforts of my home. And I picked up on it right when it kicked off this morning. And, I'm going to be, I'm not going to sugarcoat this thing. There weren't any major bombshells that dropped out of this. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. There weren't any major bombshells that dropped out. I picked up when first the ACC commissioner, Jim Phillips, he kicked things off for the media there.
Yeah.
And that's what this is. This is a media marketing blitz.
Yeah.
Pure and simple. It is not there to hang out dirty laundry. It is not there to air out your grievances. Okay. Yeah. It's a brand marketing for the ACC and to get everybody hyped up for the season. So that's what it is. Now, so Commish Jim Phillips, as I tweeted today, he looked like a deer in the headlights. Okay. His body language, his verbals, and I am kind of a body language expert. Not many people know that. We don't need to get into that tonight. He looked like he was on the defensive. He was waiting for some questions that never came, really, because the media people throw out these beach ball questions. I'm sorry, media. If you don't like what I say, you're welcome to come on the show. We welcome you. All you have to do is get in touch with us. Any way you want to get in touch with us, we'll bring you on the show. Or anybody who doesn't like something we're saying or think we're inaccurate or wrong, please come on the show. But it's my opinion that he looked defensive and he was on edge. He handled the questions professionally that were launched at him. He was trying to sell the future of the ACC. That the ACC home compound is united, that all the programs, all the schools are united within the program, and that nobody is going anywhere, ... And then he said, but all options are on the table. Okay. So I thought that was always interesting. He said that a few times. Yeah. All options are on the table. Yeah. And he admitted, that, and he was asked this question by one of the media. I thought it was a really good question. How do you plan to handle this revenue generation and distribution in the conference when you're going to be, and the media person said this, and you're going to be lapped, LAPPED, like in track. Yeah. You're going to be lapped by the SEC and Big Ten and potentially others. Who knows? but in revenue. And that was probably the biggest hardball question to him. And he kind of responded old school, that there's more to college football than this race for money and mega conferences and it's all about money. He tried to sell that the old school approach to college football is worthy of the ACC kind of holding that line no matter how far behind we fall in terms of money, even though he recognizes it's a clear and significant danger. I hope that makes some sense. But he's clearly trying to sell is this student athlete experience. And he sold it by saying, when I was at Notre Dame, because he worked at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
When I was at Notre Dame, I dropped down and took a decision to go be the AD at Northern Illinois. I didn't even know where it was, he said. But once I got there, the experience was so overwhelming, it has never left me. He's basically trying to say, back in the day, or still currently, small college football, we have 2,000 or 3,000 people on campus, and there's no scholarships, and whoever wants to come out and play football, you come out and play football, almost like club, you know? He's trying to say that money isn't everything, and we shouldn't forget that in the ACC. I think it was kind of a weird sell, and the media weren't really buying it because this revenue generation and distribution in the conference is a real threat to the breakdown of the ACC.
Yeah, I mean, he's in a very tough position. It's almost like, and like I said, I like to bring these back to business, but he is running a business, so to speak, and with a variety, but he's trying to sell a product that is basically not losing money, but it is not in a power. They have no leverage. He is running a business that has zero market leverage, and he knows that, and he's trying to convey confidence to the shareholders, which are the fans, the member schools, stuff like that, but also potential other schools that he wants to pull into his conference to make it attractive. And so he has to exude this confidence of like, we have all the options on the table. You know, this is still a powerful name. We have the name in the ACC. We have all these things that we can do. Well, probably know in the back of his head that, like you said, the media, they're about to get lapped in these, Big Ten doing a $1 million media contract that they're negotiating. $1 billion, sorry, a $1 billion media contract that they are negotiating here. He's in a very tough position, taking on that position, and he's trying to exude that confidence to quell some of the stress that's coming. But it's not going to be going away for the next couple of years. So,
but he has some protection. As we say in life, always have protection. His protection is the grant of rights. Okay, which is another 14 years? Okay. So he has,
but the grant of rights is eliminated if the ACC adds any new schools to the conference. So that's something that he's screwed with. So if he tries to expand the conference and add new quality to it, then that goes at the table. So he basically can't add any new value to the conference without allowing other teams to leave.
And I'm not suggesting that he is trying to force people into leaving or staying, either way. But he was definitely on the defensive. But the revenue thing was clear that it's going to be an issue. And I believe, and he said, and rightfully so, and they should be doing this, they're pursuing all options and all avenues to keep the conference together and to raise the revenue. Now, two other things that came up on his time. One was, should there be a redistribution plan within the conference, meaning the schools that bring in the most money get a higher percentage of that take versus the socialism of everybody gets an equal share, okay, no matter what you bring in. I'm just throwing it out there.
He's like,
and that has come up.
He's grabbing straws to make the top couple of teams.
Right, but that has come up. He said that has been talked about in the conference.
He's being true, and that's the issue, is that these heads of the conferences are now having to be reactive. that now, and with all this shuffling around, they weren't being proactive before coming up with these solutions, taking care of the people who were carrying the conference, like Florida State was in the early 2010s. Now Clemson, and now that there's all this upheaval where they potentially could go elsewhere and get paid. Now it's like, oh well, no, let's take the money away from the Syracuses and the Boston colleges and redistribute that to the schools that actually can use it for football or our powerhouse brand names. Nobody cares if next season Boston College wins 10 games. It doesn't matter. That's not going to bring more notoriety to the conference. Or if Wake Forest wins another 9 games, it doesn't matter. But let's just be honest. Those schools doing well does not help the ACC. It actually hurts it, because that means the other teams in the Miamis, the Notre Dame, or Notre Dame playing football in here, but Notre Dame, Florida State, Miami, Clemson's aren't doing
Notre Dame.
If Wake Forest are winning 9 or 10 games, it hurts the brand of the ACC. Let's just be honest. So they should have thought of these solutions for redistribution of money, even if it pisses off the little schools a lot sooner than they are when they're desperate. Their backs against the wall, trying to come up with solutions. But it's not going to work at the end of the day. The teams are going to leave. It's just going to happen.
Well, this is what I said is I think he left the door open. He's trying to paint a picture of let's keep this thing going because we have really good theme here, but all options, all doors are being explored. And I think he was also trying to tell everybody we're looking at other channels besides Fox and ESPN. We're looking at other programs out there, other major streaming services that could want to get in on the ACC football.
What are they going to get, like the free channels like Tubi TV and
what's wrong with Tubi? I love Tubi.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
They're going to be on like some like
No. What about Paramount? What about Apple? What about Apple? What I'm saying?
Nobody on Apple wants to watch Wake Forest versus BC. I'm telling you, like they're
okay. I'm agreeing with you. I'm just telling you what the guy said. Okay. I think he's working every day.
That's his job.
To figure out how to keep this car running, as long as he can. The only thing that gives him some time is this grant of rights. That gives him some time to not feel like somebody's going to get up and pack out this Friday.
But that's going to be the blessing and the curse, because like I said, that grant of rights deal basically is eliminated if he tries to expand the conference or add to it. So if he's like, we want to expand the conference and add UCF or some mid-tier good school permanently to the conference, and say we're going to add more value or a new media market. Then if they try to do that, if he tries to add quality that way and expand the quality of the conference externally, then that opens the door and basically eliminates the grant of rights deal that Florida State signed, and then they can just leave freely. So he's kind of in a tough situation with that. But
one last point it came up again was Notre Dame. That I'm sure there's been a push from his office to try to get Notre Dame to come in, obviously, to the ACC. That's not going to happen. That's a fantasy. Why would they come in and share what they're making now in a conference that looks like it's going to dissolve? That's not going to happen. And if they did come in, they would want an unequal distribution set up for them.
They would have to take all the money. Just like it just came out a couple of days ago that Notre Dame publicly said that they're targeting at least $75 million annually in media rights, at least. And today they're getting from the ACC like 25.
And they're not even
from NBC and ACC. Yeah, exactly.
And they're not even a member of the conference in football.
That's from NBC and ACC combined. They're getting about 25 million, I think it is right now, in their contracts combined. Yeah. So they're going to get. ACC can't give them $75 million annually in a media.
It's not going to happen. So I think he did the best he could. He's a very polished professional. I think he's been put in a position that he did not create. Now he didn't create this grant of rights with ESPN. He wasn't even there. This is like his second year, maybe. This John Wolford was the guy, the commish who put all that together. So Mr. Phillips has to clean it up. Okay. He has to try to put the glue to keep it going. So that's what I saw on that end. Now, the other part of the media day is obviously the players, and you named the FSU players that were there. I thought they did a great job. I thought Coach Norvell did a great job. The players did a great job doing what they're supposed to do. Okay. They stayed to the script, and that script is come in, show your excitement, say how well the team is doing now, and how everybody looks forward to the coming season. They all did that. They didn't drop any bombshells. The biggest bombshell was Jamie Robinson's kind of pinkish looking peach suit that he had on that looked maybe a size too small, and he was ripped and you could see it. Plus, when he sat down with the ACC broadcast team there, unfortunately, you could see the sweat under his armpits. It was so bad that they were making fun of it, and it was kind of funny. He took it well, and then he went away, and later, everybody came on the show eventually, but he went away later. I don't know what the hell he did. I guess he went to the men's room and had a dryer or something, or took it out on the street and got it cleaned up. He came back and he was showing everybody, see, I'm ready to go. And actually, it was probably the highlight of the whole damn day from what I saw. Yeah. But the I forget her name. She's the lead on the panel, with EJ and a couple of the other guys. Billy Packer now, he's going to be hosting the ACC show, but I can't remember her name. And it's no disregard of that. I just don't remember her name. But I think if I heard it right, she kept calling him kept calling him the wrong name. Didn't call him the right name. Kept calling him Jordan, instead of Jamie.
So he got Jordan Travis and Jamie.
Yeah, Jordan Travis. She was, I guess, getting them kind of mixed up, but that's the way I heard it. Maybe I was wrong, but no disregard to her. She did a good job. And actually I thought the crew did a good job, but it was a marketing day, and that's what it was. Yeah. And that's what it was. Now, Coach Norvell, when he got up, gave his speech before the media, it was coach language course 101. Don't say anything bad. He must have said the word excited 25 times. I'm excited about this. I'm excited about that. He tried to name 90% of the roster, throwing out the names. And this is what coaches are supposed to do. Now, there are the rare breed who are a little bit more candid. Okay. But Nick Saban teaches the course on how to get through one of these things and sort of enjoy it. Yeah. But Coach Norvell is a very polished speaker, and he has he's got it all down. Yeah. And I think he is excited. The question is, all the talk that we hear at Media Day doesn't amount to squat. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because, I don't think we need to go further into it. Like you said, it's a lot of coach speaks. I've read some of the transcripts, and it's just, they ask what are your expectations for the season, and then there's no hard number.
No one asked the question I would have asked. The media always ask, what did we learn from last year? Yeah. How is the team around? Nobody said, hey, Coach Norvell, what happens if Jordan Travis goes down? How does that change your program?
Well, he talked about the QB room. It's like he thinks they have a solid foundation, and Jordan's
it's all.
But like you said, it's not. No one asked kind of like the targeted question.
It's all generic.
I think the biggest thing you can take away from what we talked about today is that camp's going to start on the 26th of July. They're going to start early because they have the week 0 game against Duquesne, which we're going to talk about here in a second. But so they're going to be starting camp a lot earlier, or a week earlier than normal, and accelerate the process as they get prepared. So that's just different than most seasons when they don't have a week 0 game and have that, that week 0, first season, a regular season game at Doak. So I think that's the big elevation.
Let me add one last thing that I tweeted out today that the ACC commish said. He goes, we don't want to turn college football into, college sports, and in particular college football, into NFL light. LITE or NBA Light.
And the word he used, I believe, was he doesn't want it to become like a gated community where there's.
It already is becoming that, my friend.
But I think that's the analogy the commissioner uses, that it's becoming more and more like gated communities where you're in it or you're out of it, and you feel the aspects
and
to that.
That's what's being created. But I was just watching the Climb, Climb FSU puts out. Yeah. I just heard, one of their officials there said, we've hired, this is a quote, we've hired like 23 new staff members to make this more like the NFL. That's the direct quote. Go find it. To make it more like an NFL program, right? This is what we have. Let's call it what it is. Let's call it what it is. Okay, so that's my take on the media day. Tomorrow they have another second day on the other teams in the other conference.
Yeah,
this is the last year of the two conferences of the two divisions.
Yeah, but before they go to the 3-3,
then they go. Yeah, they go to one, and the top two best teams will play in the championship.
Most
everybody likes.
And I like that new format, the 3-3-5, where basically you're going to play everyone in the conference, on the road and at home once. And so it's going to be good. But I don't know how many of these teams, the top teams, will be there to enjoy it. But, it's a nice change that they made there. So
that's my take.
Yeah, let's dive into it. I think we covered it. Just a bunch of coach speech. I think, commissioner's in a tough place. So let's go ahead and now dive right into the first four. So like I said, we're going to be doing, 4 different segments here, analyzing the first 4 weeks of the season, give our take on wins and losses and how these games look. Like I said, we haven't even started camp yet. Florida State will start on I think next week. Yeah, next week for Accelerated Camp, because their first opponent that we can go over here is Duquesne. So they're going to be playing Duquesne in what is called Week 0. I can't recall the last time Florida State had a Week 0 game, which I think is kind of nice. It gets you kind of prepped before LSU. So they're going to be playing. They're going to be playing Duquesne Week 0 at home against Duquesne, which would be kind of cool. So that game will be on August 27th. So
do you even know where Duquesne is?
New Jersey.
Wrong. And I have to be honest with you. I bet you most of the fans have no clue where it is. My initial thought was it was in Iowa.
Is it like, I'm thinking like Ohio, Indiana?
No, or Ohio. No, I bet you most fans don't know it. So don't be embarrassed. This is what this show is about. This show is about fans, man. This is our take on it. Duquesne is in downtown Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh. Now, we should know that, right? You and I were in downtown Pittsburgh once, right?
Yeah.
For AAU basketball. Remember that?
Yeah, I was going to say, I should. But I'm not a big fan of the city of Pittsburgh, so.
Duquesne's in like downtown Pittsburgh's right there in the city. And this game is on August the 27th, as you said, Week 0, 5 p.m. At Doak, a home game. You know how hot it's going to be at 5 p.m.
Yeah, it's well, the conditioning will come into play early on. Even though Duquesne's not a they're a Division 1A opponent, as we may call them in the old days. They're an FCS school, but conditioning will come into play, and I think that's why it's a good way to get into see where conditioning is at to start the season a week early. Like you said, it's gonna be hot, and to see where you are wise before LSU, and maybe hopefully you can't take FCS components because of what we learned last season, Jacksonville State. But I think it's a good way. Hopefully you can start that game hot and fresh so you can get some of those backups in. Maybe you see AJ Duffy, maybe you see some of those backup receivers, the freshmen, come in and get some reps there, because you don't know who's going to go down in some of these early season games just due to pure conditioning. And so, Duquesne, they were 7-3 last season. Once again, FCS school. I'm not going to say, I don't think we need to spend a whole bunch of time going over this.
Wait a minute, I've got a few notes I want to go over.
Okay, what do you got?
People should know where they're located.
I don't think
they should know their Wikipedia biography. Their nickname is the Dukes, Duquesne Dukes. Great. They used to be called Duquesne University of the Holy Spirit. Okay, started as a Catholic university. And they're actually a private research university of about 6,000 students. They originated in 1878. I find this stuff kind of interesting. You got to know the history before you got to know the present. Okay. They play in the Northeast Conference. And this season, they are going to play 2 FBS teams, and that is Florida State and Hawaii. So they're going to get a nice trip out to Hawaii. I know that. Now, you did mention their record, so we're not going to get into that. Coach Jerry Schmidt, this guy is capable. Okay. This guy's no dummy. He's 18 seasons now there. He's won 5 NEC championships. He's been to the FCS playoffs twice. 7th straight winning season. They beat FBS Ohio University last year. He's 109-71 in his career there. This guy's capable. So
I think that's the big thing here. This isn't some garbage FCS program they're playing. This isn't like the Prairie View A&M or something like that. This is a program that actively tries to play FCS schools every season. Like you said.
Well, they want a paycheck, and that's how they fund their program.
That, but they also, they got blown out by TCU last season, but then they went on the road.
They did. I watched film of that, and they didn't look good
against TCU. Yeah, but then they went on the road the next week and beat Ohio in bought a pay me game. So so it's they are competing. Any of these teams, I think, in any given Sunday can compete, but some better than others, as we've learned. But I don't think this is a program you can go in just totally out of shit. You have to be zoned in to win this game, like you should be every game. But this is a team that I think can stay with you in the first half at minimum. Can give you a contact.
I don't think so. I
have, but it's weeks.
I didn't mean to set you up by saying he's a great coach. I think he is a good coach there. But they're going to be down by 28 to 35 points at halftime.
I hope that is the case. Like you said,
I'm telling you.
They play in one of the weaker kind of FCS conferences, but they do play those FCS. And if they hadn't beaten Ohio or shown they could be an FBS school, I'd be like, okay with you. But it shows that they have some level of talent on there. And I just don't know. Teams look sloppy in week 0. So either Florida State's going to be sloppy, they're going to be sloppy, or both going to be sloppy. So Florida State historically does not come out strong. So that's what I want to see. But I do believe
that's a coaching issue then.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if they look tighter this year. But I agree with you. They'll come out and win this game by hopefully 14 points. We don't need to focus on this one anymore.
There's nobody in the Northeastern Conference that you've ever heard of. I've looked at it.
You've
never heard of them. So I see Florida State winning this game. They're going to win this game going away. I see it as plus 48. So you could take Duquesne plus 48. Okay, we're gonna win this game by 48 points or more. It's going to be a stats padding day for everybody. Okay, the numbers are going to be big. Rushing yards are going to be big. Passing yards are going to be big. So it's a padding, rushing stats day in that regard. By the end of the third quarter, maybe halfway into the third quarter, the starters are going to get a break. We're going to be rotating a lot of people into this game because the heat is going to be an issue. I've been at games in early September or August, and it's humid and it's hot as hell at 5 p.m. Okay, that's the TV time. We did. They would have run it at 7:30 or 8 o'clock, but TV says you want to play, you want to get paid 5 p.m. For this game. A.J. Duffy and Rodemaker are definitely going to get in the game. And the biggest thing Florida State can do here, the big win here is no major injuries on starters and on your starting QB, Jordan Travis.
So, I agree with you. It should be a blowout. If it's not, then we have more issues to talk about on the podcast. But I'd say 35 minus 35 Florida State, and you might take us for as low as $15 if you'd like to attend that at 5 p.m.
They're probably lower than that.
No, I just checked. That's
the check 50. But you better. I'll tell you.
I don't think we need to dive into this game anymore.
No. Here's the deal. Florida State leads the game 1-0, traveling to
LSU. in New Orleans. So
LSU, the Superdome.
Yeah. So another what's supposed to be a neutral. Well, they'll call it a neutral game, but obviously this is
And that's a week later. That's a 1 week later.
Yeah. So on September 4th, Sunday night matchup, prime time. It's going to be Florida State LSU. Pretty much a home game for LSU. Florida State's sold out all their allotment of tickets, so it's going to be a packed Superdome. And it should be a great one. Florida State is now on the spread +3 for the most recently published spread there. So they are the underdog there, probably mostly because of that, it being an away game. And the over-under is 51.5 points. So they expect it to be a somewhat high-scoring affair on that end of things. What is your initial analysis of this game? I don't think we need to go quarter by quarter, but what are you thinking analysis-wise? What do you like? Who do you like? Oh, I think we lost you. So we lost.
I'm back. I hit the wrong button. Sorry, dude. I was setting up something there. I hit the wrong button. I think this is going to be a big audience game you said it's September the 4th.
Yep.
Sunday night, 6:30 p.m.
I already said all this.
Superdome.
I already said all this. Yep.
Okay.
What do you like? What do you
like? Maybe
about
somebody just joined the broadcast. They didn't hear it. Maybe they need to hear it again. All right. Big game for national media and recruiting. Number one. Yep. Okay. A lot of recruits are going to be watching this game. Florida State's going to come in there 1-0. We've just blown out somebody that's meaningless. And this is a good recruiting game. This is going to be the test of where this team is. We're playing a team that has good talent. LSU's got good talent across the board, but they're under new leadership, new coaching, new strategy, new everything. But it's a coach we know, Brian Kelly. This guy knows what's going on, okay? And he's going to have them ready to go. And it's basically a home game for LSU. This is not a neutral site game, all right? This is not a neutral site game. I love what Brian Kelly said. He goes, God, I should have always been in the South. Family, football, and food. I should have always been in the South. That's a quote from Brian Kelly. These guys are going to be ready to go. The key here will be a quarterback for them. I expect to see Jaden Daniels, who transferred in from Arizona State. He is the most experienced quarterback on their roster. I expect he will win the job, even though Kelly hasn't named anybody. And really the battle is between him and a guy named Miles Brennan. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Either one of these guys are capable of putting up points against most defenses. They always have a good stable of running backs. Their offensive lines are always average plus. Their defense is always an average plus defense. This is going to be a tough game, and that's why the point spread is where it is. We cannot afford to go into this game looking back or even looking forward. This is going to be a tough battle, and I think it's going to come down to us establishing a consistent running game. 75 to 125 yards in the run game, and Jordan Travis having to use, unfortunately, some of his legs to get us out of trouble and keep the ball moving. If we have to keep putting our defense out there, it's going to be a long day. Yeah.
Agree with you there. I think you have some good points there. As we all know, LSU struggle, or may not know, LSU did struggle last year. They had some issues on defense. They had some issues on offense. They lost their starting quarterback to the transfer portal, Max Johnson. So they're, like you said, they're trying to fill that piece in the transfer portal, and they've been successful. They have been probably one of the top 3 teams in the transfer portal this offseason. So without the portal, I would be a lot more confident in this game. Probably be a lot less confident of FSU, at the same notion. But they have really reloaded via the transfer portal, and that's all in due in part with firing their head coach and bringing in Brian Kelly. That's wholesale helped them in rebuilding this roster essentially overnight, and bringing in guys like Schmidt, or bringing in guys, like across the board, new quarterback. guys on the defensive end to improve their secondary. So I think, like you said, there's a lot of unknowns because you never know if these transfers are going to be able to fit into the system and make an immediate impact. For Florida State, we saw some guys that really stood out. As soon as they got on the field, they were able to make an impact immediately. Some guys just really didn't work out. We thought they were in the fall or in the spring, the summer. Then they got to the fall and we just didn't see them work out or they just didn't fit into the scheme as well as we thought they were going to. So I think that's the biggest thing for me is can these transfers they brought in that are superstars or supposedly have the talent to be great, are they able to come in and make a difference, especially on the defensive end? Like I said, they have some big talent guys that came in from the other SEC schools, two from Arkansas, one from Oklahoma State, one from, all over the place. And can they fit these guys in and make them great? And then it's the play of Jaden Daniels. Like you said, this kid from Arizona State, he was kind of just wallowing in that program. They brought him in to replace Max Johnson. Can he come in and fit into the system, Brian Kelly's system, and take off immediately? Can he carry that offense? And being a week one game, there's going to be those bumps in the road. So hopefully Florida State can take advantage of that. Hopefully our defense is clicking on all cylinders and can shut them down early and let our offense establish the run. I'm hoping that our offensive line can fit it all together this season. We've brought in the talent. We've brought in the backups. We've brought in the transfers now. If we can establish the run and our defense plays semi decent, I think we'll be able to give them fits as they're trying to figure out this offense together with a new quarterback, that we'll be able to stay in the game at least to the fourth quarter. And it'll be a coin flip. Just because they're trying to integrate so many people. So I like the line at ±3 right now. I'm going to take Florida State -3. Or I'm going to take the +3 on Florida State just because I think that it will go to the fourth quarter unless, so I hate to say this, but unless Florida State has one of those games where they turn the ball over 3 times early and they look sloppy. But I think this will go to the fourth quarter. I think it'll come down to a couple possessions at the end of the game. And that's my overall feel for it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game. I think the home field advantage is definitely in favor of LSU. I think having a coach of the caliber of Kelly is going to give them new and renewed spirit. Yeah. They're a quality football team. We're going to find out if we have a quality football team. It's going to be a close game. Unfortunately, it's going to come down to a play or two. Do we catch the pass? Do we make that extra yard? A lot of the games for Florida State this season is going to come down to a play or two, and it's going to make all the difference. LSU wins by a field goal, a last-minute drive, field goal, and they win the game by 3 points.
Yeah, I think it's funny because I think these are very.
And I don't want to say that, but
I think these are two very similarly built teams. They both have been rebuilt via the portal. LSU lost their top 2 skill position players, Max Johnson, the running back who went to the draft, and the rest of the team, the rest of the receivers all have under 500 yards. Like it's not they're built like Florida State. Florida State didn't have a high volume receiver last year. They lost some guys, but we bring back a lot of on the skill and quarterback and running back. But LSU's doing what we had to do a couple of years ago and bring in a bunch of guys to fill in the gaps where we had with a new coach. And I think LSU's in that same position. But it's really, can they integrate these guys very early and can they click? And can Florida State take advantage of them trying to fit these players together in week one? So I think it's Florida State advantage there.
We actually bring in a coaching staff now that's been together. Okay, that should give it a plus for us. We have the most experienced quarterback on the field. Now, don't kid yourself. Daniels has played ball at Arizona State, okay? Yeah. And he's a little bit like Jordan Travis. His passing is not as good as his running. So we have 2 very similar quarterbacks here who kind of like to run more than they pass. But I think we're going to find out, as you said, really what we have with this team. We're going to find out which guys can play and which guys are not ready to play. Yeah. It's going to be in an air-conditioned dome, so the heat and humidity is not going to be an issue in that regard. Yeah. So it's going to be a fun game to watch. It's going to be an exciting time, and we're going to find out where we are going into the rest of the season.
All right, so who do you take?
I take LSU by 3.
I'm going to take Florida State by 3.
Okay. All right.
Yep. So we go to the next one. So the next one is going to be with it's Louisville, right? No, it's not Louisville. It's Louisville or Boston College. It's one of the two.
No, it's Louisville. It's Louisville on the 16th, September the 16th. And guess what? When your program is where we are in rebuilding, you get a rebuilding TV time Friday night. When is the last time Florida State has played on a Friday night?
Oh, they usually
I think it was a Halloween game. Is that the Halloween game at UVA when we couldn't get in from the 2-yard line? They stopped. Who was that? Warwick Dunn stopped him short, and that was the first game Florida State ever lost. I'll have to look that up. Fans, if you know that, give me a break. Send us a note, but look it up. And I think that was a Friday. I'm thinking that was a Friday night game, or maybe that was a Saturday night game. I can't remember us playing Friday night. This is a Friday night game. It's a home game for Louisville. It's in Louisville, 7 p.m. That'll be a lot of people, be watching that game. It's kind of good from a recruiting standpoint if you have a great game, because a lot of people get to watch you. You're not having to play on Saturday.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's an interesting timing. Usually you get the Florida State versus Boston College like on Thursdays, which I always used to hate, stuff like that. That would be their Thursday night game. But I think this game actually is a little bit tougher than the LSU game, just because Louisville's in a much better spot. Much better spot in terms of what they're building. Quarterback is sound. They have a great quarterback position there. In terms of what they've been doing, what's his name? Malik Cunningham. He is, the true dual threat. They seem to get these guys, whether it was,
he's like a Lamar. He's like the Lamar.
Yeah, he's like a little bit less talented Lamar Jackson.
Which you and I saw, remember, in a game against Florida State.
I don't want to recall that, but yes, I do remember that. But they seem to get these guys. They originally recruited Jordan Travis before he transferred, so they seem to get these guys that can perform. And they bring back Malik, who's their leading passing and rushing quarterback, and he gave Florida State fits last year. So this guy is the do-it-all, and he's going to be even more improved this season. So I think it really comes down to I don't think they lost some of their receivers last year, but once again, they're not a high volume throwing team. It really relies, just like Florida State does, it relies on what Malik can do. They win or lose around him. If he is not able to create lanes, create open slots for receivers, they typically lose the game, and they rely on that rushing attack. Their top receiver was, once again, similar to Florida State, had around 550 yards, and he was their tight end. So it's really based on, can they establish the run? Can Malik make plays with his legs? And then can he find the open receiver? If they can they need to be able to put pressure on him, just like they did a little bit with Jermaine last year. They need to have edge rushers contain and also put pressure up the middle. If they can do that, they can win this game. I don't feel super I really feel like whatever they do against LSU is going to bleed over into this game. So if they look strong against LSU, if they're getting pressure against LSU, I feel like that game will bleed over into the Louisville game. So if I'm thinking them to beat LSU, I'm going to pick them to beat Louisville as well. So I'm going to say, I'm going to go with the line. The line hasn't been officially posted for this game yet, but I'm going to go. I'm going to go 3 points again. I'm going to go Florida State by 3.
You make a couple of good, interesting points that I think as a defensive coordinator, if I was playing Florida State, I'm totally not sold yet that Jordan Travis is a passing quarterback that can beat me that way. So my defense is always going to play to contain him on the edges. If he's got to run, he's going to run into the middle where we have more guys playing the ball. I think most defenses are going to play him that way. We're going to find that out in the LSU game. They're going to say, don't let him get outside where he can hurt us. Keep him penned up. Louisville's going to do the same thing. They're going to play that type of defense. Coach Satterfield, this guy's a credible coach, okay? This guy's been around. He knows how to win. And, he has trouble recruiting guys just like probably more trouble than we do because we still carrying our brand name. But Malik Cunningham, this guy's probably he's an NFL quality type guy, but he's not a pure passer either. He's very much like Jordan Travis. He can beat you with his legs. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to have to play containment as well with him. He's going to be one of their leading rushers this year, just like Jordan Travis will be for us. It's at home at Louisville. It's a flip. It's kind of a flip game. I hope we're not looking back at the LSU game. That's going to take some gas out of us, which is going to take the emotions down for this game. It's a trap game in a way. A trap game they usually say is a lesser opponent, but this is a quality opponent. I'm going to take FSU by 7 in this game.
And I think that's a good call. And if I'm recalling, Florida State went down by like 21, 24 points early in that game in the first half. And recall, this is one or two games that Jordan Travis did not play. This is Malik Milton from the start. So that offense was struggling in the first half to get going. So I do agree with you. It's about containing Malik, just kind of bending but not break. They gave him some big throws last year against him, just over the top throws that you can't have happen. But in the second half, they were able to shut it down. They didn't score in the second half against us. So I think if they can keep Jordan Travis healthy and continue to run we ran all around them. We ran for 200 yards last year against them. So if they can establish the run like we need to, let Jordan do what Jordan does, and then playing contained defense against Malik, that's how you win this game. So I agree with you, but it cannot be a letdown game from LSU. You can't put everything into that one game.
Whether you win or lose LSU, they have to put it behind them very quickly.
It's like the Notre Dame game last year. They put so much into that, and then they collapsed for 3 more games after that. It felt like so. Totally agree. So you can't let history repeat itself there, because it was the same thing. Everything in Notre Dame, you felt great about that. It felt like people said it felt like you win that game, and then you go on the 3-game slide, you're 0-4.
Well, I thought even that Notre Dame game, if we kept it close, which we did,
we did,
and lost, we'd still be moving ahead, but we weren't. They just collapsed. And that's a coaching thing.
Yeah,
that's a coaching. Now the coaches have had this team for a couple of seasons now mentally to understand that you keep moving forward no matter what happens to you.
Yep.
No matter what, we always hear Coach Rovell and the coaches, adversity. When adversity comes, you push it behind you and you move forward.
Absolutely. It'll be a tough game, but you have to go in there, with the same level head. It's just another game for us. So I think it'll be close, but I think Florida State, with Jordan healthy, can win that game by 3.
So you have Florida State at 3-0 at this point. I have them at 2-1 at this point.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we go into our last game on the 24th of September. So they get a little bit of a break there, a bye week. Oh, no, they don't. Sorry. No, they go right into no bye week. They go from Friday to a Saturday game on the 24th.
The time has not been announced.
Yeah, not been announced, but tickets are available for $32 at Doe Campbell if you would like to purchase. And once again, I think one thing we didn't take into consideration for the Louisville game, that is on the road. I didn't mention it, but that is on the road. So
Louisville, I said it was on the road.
Yeah, I forgot about that. So that's where I have that's why I take into consideration the 3 points versus 7. I think it'll be tough on the road. And but going on the BC, September 24th, no time announced, like you said. Florida State is favored in this. Based on ESPN's football power index, which I just think is a bunch. These things are crap. But honestly, it's at home, so that's a point in Florida State's favor. I think between the their quarterback, Boston College's quarterback, I can't pronounce his last name, Jawinski or Phil
Jurvik.
I can never pronounce that.
Yeah, he's good. He's going to end up in the NFL.
He's 6'5", strong. Can also run a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
So it's really, once again, it's a battle. It's going to be a battle of the quarterbacks, in my opinion. Can you contain him enough to
well, he's not really a big threat runner. He is a pure drop back pass guy.
He's hard to sack. He's hard to sack.
Yeah,
because he's built kind of like a Big Ben. In terms of he's
powerful. But he wants to make his money this season with his arm. He wants to show people I can make all the throws, and he's gonna. That's what he's gonna try to do against Florida State.
Yeah, and this was a tough game last year. Florida State barely won this game and gave up 13 in the fourth quarter to make it super tight. So this was a tough one between kind of two sort of evenly matched teams. Travis State come back for this game. So that's really the difference, right? Travis came back for this game. Florida State wins.
Right.
Based on his throwing. He
Travis
had
a good game.
250, 3 TDs. But they were able to contain Phil. That was one of the other things. Like Florida State was able to keep Phil in check. He only had 148 yards. Had a INT. Didn't play great, but they were able to get to him. The only concern I think we had in that game is that our running defense was not great. We gave up some big runs across the board, over 170 yards, running 2 touchdowns, and they got kind of sloppy in the second half. Zay Flowers, who was their top receiver, he's in the he's back. He's back for another season. He's going to be a first or second round pick probably next year. So he's the X factor for them. So it's really about can you get pressure on Phil, and can you contain Zay Flowers? That's really the two big factors on their team. He's their 1,000-yard potential threat this season. It's really about containing them. And last year they really couldn't contain him. And Florida State never got a running game going. They got over 100 yards, but really couldn't consistently get it. But they won the game. So I think at home, with that in mind, you were able to get pressure on Phil last year, but it was still close. I think you win this game if Travis comes in healthy. And I'm going to go with 7-point Florida State win.
Yeah, I'm going to just add on to what you say. That first of all, Boston College is well coached. They're a well coached team. They always have some pretty good line play on both sides. They've got some strong guys up front. They like to run the football. In this case, they're going to try to balance it out.
Yeah.
And here, the best news for us is we're not playing up in Chestnut Hills in November where it's like 30 degrees, which we don't play that well in. Yeah. So that's good news. We catch them down here in the heat of Florida. In September, it's still hot as hell down here, okay? And it's still humid. So it's gonna force Boston College to make more rotations, especially on defense. Okay. And that's where we're going to be able to take advantage there. The quarterback matchups are going to be pretty interesting to watch. I think this could be a high scoring game. I think this could be a high scoring. This could be a 38-26 type of game. And I see Florida State with the 38 on top of this one. I'm going to pick Florida State to win this game. Something like 38-26. Based on we got them at home, and we're going to be used to the conditions better. And I think we have better depth, and that's going to be the difference in this game at most of our skill position. And I'm real anxious to see in these games how our offensive line holds up. Our defensive line in the interior is supposed to be our strength now. So we should be able to contain the quarterbacks in most of these games and force them into the middle.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing last year is that they were able to pressure Jerkovic in the first half. They only had 95 total yards last year, and we got up early and then kind of fell apart late. These are the games that Florida State has to win if Norvell wants to keep his job. You have to beat Boston College. I don't care, recruiting's been down, You have the talents and the coaching staff to beat Boston College at home. You have to do it. These are the boxes you have to check off if you want to win 7, 8, 9 games. Let's say 7 games, 8 games. If you can't beat Boston College at home, you need to start putting your resume out there because you have to do it. There's no excuses. You need to beat programs like this. The only reason you don't beat a program like this is because of A, coaching, game planning, or B, you don't have your team mentally focused for it. If they're fumbling, turnovers all over the place, bad game plan and lack of focus is what's going to lose you this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. We should be, in my opinion, in my picks, Florida State should be no worse than 3-1 following the Boston College game. They should be no more than 3-1. They can't have game mismanagement, but Florida State, every game except the Duquesne game, Florida State is going to be in tight games. We're not going to blow anybody out. We're not going to blow anybody out, and no one should blow us out. If someone blows us out, it shows that we have bigger problems, because all the talk is excitement and everybody's on board and all of this crap. It's going to be no worse than 3-1 after the Boston College game. If not, there's going to be questions.
Yeah, I mean, you have to at least. I see at worst they go 2-2. You have to go 2-2 in that stretch. Like, if you drop LSU and drop Louisville, you have to beat Boston College or your season's done. If you were to go 1-3 in that stretch, I don't know what the hell could happen. You may lose. Mike Norvell would make it. I don't think it would happen. But if you end up losing to Louisville and LSU back to back, and then losing at Boston College, or losing at home against Boston College, I mean, I wouldn't want to think that. So positive. We're thinking positive. So we're gonna say.
Yeah. Well, listen. We're we're Florida State people, okay? But we don't sugarcoat it on this show. We're not soft on this show.
Yeah.
We're gonna call it like we see it, and each game, as we get into the season, some of this could change, because as you said earlier, KB, we don't know who's going to go down. If Jordan Travis goes down in the LSU game,
I only want to talk about it.
Changed. Well,
I think I think we have to deal with that road when it comes.
But I've been talking about it the whole time. I've been talking about is my number one worry is what happens to this when. But you know what? Every other program in the ACC is kind of like us.
Yeah, exactly.
If one of these quarterbacks goes down at Louisville, Boston College, Wake Forest, they're in the same sense.
Most programs now with transfer portal,
you have to have
starting quarterbacks that can come in. You've
got to have a number 2 guy ready to go. You've got to have a number 2 guy. Now, whether that's Rodemaker, AJ Duffy, or some guy that walks in off the street, you got to have a guy ready to go. That's your job, coach.
Yeah. But I think the LSU game is going to tell us a lot about, can they contend, can they compete, and how they're going to look for the rest of the season. So that's really going to be a barometer game.
Okay, so I have them at 3-1. You have them at 4-0.
Yeah.
You have 4-0. I have them at 3-1. So that's,
they're going to need it.
We're going to be tracking that, and I think that's a good breakdown.
Yep, exactly. So next episode, we'll break down the next 4 games, and that is Wake Forest, NC State, Clemson, Georgia Tech. So you have some interesting matchups in that mix, 3 of them being very tough opponents. So like we said, these first 4 games that we just discussed, are essential to setting you up for success later in the season. As we say in business, the first month of the year sets you up for success at the back half of the year. You have to start the year strong, and if you don't, well, it makes it hard to make it up at the back end. So it's just like in football. So
Hey, I've got one other thing, one last point I thought was very interesting.
What's that?
That when Saban was up on the SEC Media Days, which has been running this week too, he said his players have had the opportunity to make over $3 million in 2021 under NIL.
Okay. I mean,
$3 million. Okay, distributed. And Kirby at UGA said his players have been very lucky as well, scattered over 95 players. So, and the last point is the ACC commish Phillips, he said today, he goes, as we have said constantly, the NIL has rocked the college football world, and now he wants to see Washington, D.C. weigh in, the government, for regulations and rules.
That can be another discussion we discussed. But I think at the end of the day, having a lot of money counts. But if Florida State had $3 million in NIL, it's not going to get them any better players. They have to improve their record. They have to improve the way they play.
You know what? And
if you're 6-5 and you're handing out $3 million, there's an LSU, there's better schools or better programs right now that can give you $3 million and say, hey, do you want to play a better schedule and perform at the highest level? That's going to win out. So you have to have, there's multiple factors to this other than having a lot of money.
I remember back in the days of our dynasty days, the players had metal lockers and different, dorm situations. And today's player has everything. And if you've seen the FSU locker room, the new digs, I'm waiting for the lazy river and the tubes to come floating in. You know what the bottom line is? When you take the field, none of that shit matters.
No, yeah.
None of it matters. What matters is who hits who makes the play. Yeah. And it really, that's why sometimes these smaller schools creep up and beat you because you're too soft.
Yeah.
You're too soft.
Yeah.
So we're going to find out, but I get it that you need this stuff to recruit these guys. That's the modern day player.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
absolutely.
In the bottom line, when the game starts, it's about playing football.
Yep.
It's about playing football.
100%. 100%. Well, we'll leave it there. Like we said, if you haven't already subscribed, check out the podcast. Please. You can listen to it in your car on your way to work, at home, or just on the go. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pandora, wherever you listen to your podcasts and music. Seminoles Sideline 365. Look it up, and then follow us on Twitter at Seminoles SL365. And get the latest updates and commentary from us. So thanks again, everybody, for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye, guys. Bye-bye.